All right. Okay, so this is a good and juicy topic. Again, those of you who are live, please feel free to just either come off of mute and ask me a question as we go, or I will check the chat periodically. I'll keep stopping and we will answer as many questions as we can about this one. So today's topic is money mindset. This is all about the myth that you've been told about your money mindset and what to do instead. The last Think Differently that we had was all about like what to do when you're in a season where creating content feels hard. You know, sometimes you just kind of feel like you're in flow, and other times it's just like, I can't for the life of me post a single thing. So if that's interesting to you, you can, when you get the replay link, you can click that and you'll be able to access past replays for that one. But in that, one of my tips in that was to take something that pisses you off and use it as fuel and inspiration for fire. Meaning, how do we present ourselves as thought leaders, right, when we're creating our content? And truly, I believe that we all are, if we choose to step into that sort of mindset or identity. And so if we're going to present ourselves as thought leaders, and we know that that helps us write content that speaks to our audience, you as an expert in your field probably have myths or other ways of doing things or other ways of seeing your sort of specialty that you either see, and this isn't about throwing shade on your colleagues, but like you either see other people doing that you just don't agree with, or helpful advice that is out there in the ethers, but it's really confusing because they misunderstand it, and so then they can't practically apply it to whatever it is that you do. And so that's literally the inspiration for this today. This is a myth that I see. Sometimes it's really straightforward and direct and this is everywhere. This is coaches, money mindset. This is the law of attraction. This is how to make more money. This is all these things. I see it in some way, shape, or form in a lot of different places and have for many, many years. And every single time it makes me mad because I just vehemently disagree with it. And so I'll be curious to see if any of you get mad at this as well. But what we're going to basically do today, and again, money mindset is a huge topic. I could talk about this all day, every day. So if you've got an area of money mindset that we don't cover today, please go ahead and share if there's something that you want me to cover or a question you'd love me to answer. I often create topics here based on your questions. So I will literally create you a live on your topic if you want, or if I feel that I have legitimately something to say about it. So feel free to ask, and you might not get your answer today, but you might get your answer another day, and I will reach out and personally give you the replay. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this made me mad, and I'm going to quickly check the chat before I tell you what it is, and I'm not going to make you wait a whole hour to tell you what the myth is. I'm going to just tell you right up front here. Hello from West Tennessee. Awesome. Happy to be entered to win. Hello, other LL. Spring, oh, is it Spring Equinox? It is. Spring Equinox blessings from Victoria, BC. Awesome. Joining because Laura's, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Joining because Laura's energy is so awesome and it's good for the soul. Yay, thank you. Hello from Barcelona. I'm in Honduras. I never said where I am. Excited to be in the draw. Love listening to your pearls of wisdom. Thank you. Wanted to hear more about it. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Doing my makeup as I listen. Perfect. 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 I wanted to learn your perspective. I love your energy. It's been a while. It has been a while. It's really good to see you, Carla. Okay. I'm ready to get mad. Solidarity. Awesome. Okay. Let's get this. No. Okay. So the money mindset myth that I get mad at, maybe once a week, it has 3 parts. So you may have seen one of these parts somewhere, and this is just sort of how I sort of see it and clump it all together. So money mindset myth, part 1 is there's a hidden mindset block that you have. You have a hidden mindset block, meaning you don't know about it. And when I'm going to hold it. There's a hidden mindset block that will unlock all your abundance when you find it. Yeah, thank you for the really annoying face. Yes, really annoyed face, I should say. That's freaking bullshit, my friends. Okay. But I see this everywhere. Biting my tongue. Yes, thank you. Solidarity. Thank you. Okay, good. So if those of you who are live, if you already agree with me on everything else, then we'll talk about a different money mindset. So there's a hidden block that will unlock all your abundance once you find it. And then there's kind of 2 sub bullets to that. Until you find it, until you identify it, you're going to keep having money problems or you can't improve your financial situation. And I think this piece of it, I see a lot of times with my clients where they're clear that, let's say I'm going to talk about something totally different. Let's say you have a fear of visibility, right? And we all know that that's a piece of the work that we have in front of us if we're going to be entrepreneurs. And let's say you don't know why you're afraid to be visible. You don't exactly know why. You just know it makes you uncomfortable or whatever, right? That thought process of until I figure out why, I've been banging my head against the wall, right? If you've ever had a mindset issue or something that you can't break through and you know mindset is a piece of the problem and you feel like you're banging your head against a wall, there somewhere underneath there is this false belief, this myth, because people have told you this. Good intentioned personal growth industry people have told you this, that you have to find out why in order to solve it and change it. Not true. And then finally, the third piece or the second sub-bullet is when you find the secret, and I'm going to say it like this, when you find the secret, because there's no secret. That's the secret. There's no secret. Okay. When you find the secret, you won't have any other problems. Right? And this is where, again, you may not notice yourself thinking about this with money exactly, or you might. But this is where we kind of look at a lot of mindset problems as like, once I solve, or really anything in business, right? How many times have you said, once I make this next money goal, once my business gets to this level, then I can really relax. Then it'll be okay. Then I will just like enjoy the process. But Laura, until I get there, I can't enjoy this bullshit, right? Or whatever, right? Until. Right? That's the magical thinking that we tend to believe around anything, right? Again, let's not talk about money for a second and let's look at love, right? There's a lot of crap out in our society telling us that once you finally find your true love, you will be complete, right? It's the same mindset. That's total bullshit if that's just total bullshit. I've been happy in and out of relationships. Thank you. So let me just say that again. So the myth is there's a hidden mindset block that when you find it, will unlock your abundance. Until you identify what it is, meaning you have to know why, you're going to keep having money issues. And when you find the secret, everything will be okay, right? You won't have to do, and really the way I wrote it was, you don't have to do the stuff in business that you don't want to do, right? So I have and I think subset around this is most of your business problems, like I will say this, most of our business problems come down to something in our mindset. But that doesn't mean that we need to run our business by only journaling and then expecting all the clients to come to us. Right? It does not work that way. We also need to have a strategy. We also need to execute on Zed's strategy, right? We have to put ourselves out there. We have to make offers to people. We have to hop on sales calls. We have to, the game of business is not just up here, even though so many things can be solved from this place. And so much of what I'm going to talk about today is how to solve any mindset issue. This one is a great example. And we're going to talk about why this is total bullshit. Because I really, really, really want to take a stand for this not being true. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Let me know what you guys think about this. Did I just blow your mind, or you're like, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about? Okay. So many mixed messages out there about money mindset from all angles. I completely agree. And I honestly, I had to really fight myself to pick one, and you can see that I sort of picked one with some bullets. Like, this is me choosing one thing for today, because to your point, there are so many mixed messages out there. I love exploring this and also finding what works for me in all the confusion. 100%, it is about what works for you. Okay, Laura, get out of my head. Sorry. Biting my tongue, sigh. It's always interesting since that is what you always hear. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for feeling me on this. Okay. So keep asking questions. Keep letting me know. This is not right. Okay. So if that's the myth, right? It's a secret. Until you find it, you're doomed. And when you find it, you're okay. All is well, right? Again, love is a great example, like of the same stuff that we are told about love. Money is another great example. And I think the reason I get so mad about this in the like online business space or just small business world is because it's almost like, and I did this too when I first left corporate. I wanted nothing to do with corporate and I didn't want to run my business like it was a business. I wanted to come over here and talk psychology. And that was always my first love. That was actually how I got into business was I found a psychology route into business back in my corporate career in my 20s. And so I think it's like we do ourselves a disservice. Yes, we want to run our businesses differently than corporations that run their people into the ground and burn out and all that stuff. But like we still have businesses to run. And so I think it's just an easy, like it sounds really good and it works really well for marketing. And it also can just get, I also see a lot of people who don't mean to misrepresent, but they do because they're writing a very short piece of content, right? Content is short and we cannot explain all the nuances. That's why I'm not tackling this in a short piece of written content that goes on Instagram, right? I'm tackling this in a long form, 45 to 60 minute discussion. Okay, so here's what's wrong with this myth. And so whether this belief system is in you or not, if it is, you may or may not be conscious of it. And so here's some of the symptoms. Here's what this kind of makes you go do. So that if this is playing out for you, this might also help you see. Because again, a lot of times we don't know that a mindset issue is happening because it's subconscious, unconscious. So it puts you on a search for a secret. It puts you on a search for, and this isn't like, I'm a business coach. Like I hope that people will hire me because I know stuff and I know more about business than they do, or I know how to look at their business with a fresh set of eyes because they're in it, right? And it puts us on the search for that like guru, right? That's different than hiring a business coach. That's why I call my work a partnership, because I just don't ascribe to the guru mentality, but it puts us on a on a search for this like majestical person that's going to solve all of our business problems. And again, that's not to say that you can't find someone to help you with your business, but can you see the mindset that it approaches? And then what's underneath that is there's a secret, right? So I don't know the secret, so I have to go find the secret. It's like hidden in some place, or it's only accessible through this person or through these people or through somebody else because I'm not in charge of my own self, right? I don't have the answers. And that's I just want to be very clear. That's very different than asking for help, partnering with someone who has an expertise, right? Like you're a web design. We have a web designer here. Like it doesn't mean that I should pretend like I know everything about web design and not hire a web designer, right? I'm not saying that. But it does put us on this mindset search. And it's also why I think so many people hire the wrong person, whether that's a coach or somebody else, because we think they have the answers. And maybe in the sales call, they told us they had the answers. And again, that doesn't mean they can't help you. And that doesn't mean that they're not an expert in their field and you're not. But there is a difference when we're searching for a secret. And frankly, when we search for a secret, whoever it is that we hire, we're setting them up to fail. And we're setting ourselves up to be disappointed because they cannot solve the problem that we want them to solve in that way, right? Yeah, it's incredibly disempowering. It's incredibly toxic, and I don't think it means to be. I don't think the people talking about this mean to be, but it's just misleading. And it makes me mad. Okay, so this myth convinces you, puts you on a search for the secret. It also puts you in this black and white thinking. Right? Black and white, all or nothing thinking. I had to look this up because I couldn't remember the name of it. The opposite of black and white thinking, or all or nothing thinking. I just forgot it. Is cognitive flexibility. And I love it because it's like, oh, I can see just with those words. Am I thinking like flexibly, which is like, can you hold the both and? Or am I all or nothing, right? Which is, yeah, there may be something in your mindset that you're unaware of that's affecting your ability to either make and receive money, to hold money, or to spend money, right? Like, or to feel okay making an offer on a sales call, right? Like, for sure, we all have mindset stuff that's affecting that. But when we believe this myth that until we find this secret, we're screwed, then, I mean, like, what's the point of even trying to run your business? You better go spend a full-time job finding out your problems and figuring out your money mindset and you cannot solve any, right, you see how I'm being silly, but like, and now you can't sign any clients until you figure out your mindset problem, right? It puts you in an all or nothing thinking. And even if you're taking action in your business, that mindset of like, well, I don't even know if this is going to work because I have money mindset issues and I don't know why I have money mindset issues. I just know I have money mindset issues. So why the fuck should I be writing this piece of content, right? It really pulls us into a space. It adds to like it adds more unhelpful, untrue beliefs to our way of being in the business, because somewhere in there we've got some sort of until or unless. Until this happens, I can't create the results I want. And then we already talked about this. It also puts you on a space of like magical thinking, which again, if you think that when you solve your money mindset issues, you won't have any business problems, I'm really sorry to tell you that I don't think that that's true, right? Again, and we all engage in this. Thank you for laughing. We all engage in this magical thinking, right? It can be about love. It can be about money. It can be about, I'm like taking a new supplement and I need to get, see, I already did it. I'm very much looking forward to getting to the 30-day mark of having taken this supplement, because it will start to really take effect in a way that I can feel and see. And so part of me is like, I cannot be happy until I get to day 30 of taking this supplement. I'm on like day 23, right? Like I'm almost there, I'm gonna get there, right? Well, my job is just to freaking take it and move on with my day for the next week, right? But we can engage in this magical thinking of like, when I get there, then I'll be okay. Or I can't be happy until, right? Same with any business goal you set for yourself, any money goal you set for yourself, right? If somewhere in there we're saying like, I can't enjoy it until, or it's not going to be okay until, or, then I can breathe a sigh of relief. Like that's where we just kind of get ourselves into trouble. Yeah, and so then sometimes I've seen this happen, like if you think that this money thing is gonna, and it's not even that money is gonna solve all your problems, right? It's like, it's the like, when I find the answer of why I have money mindset, what my money mindset issue is, right? Then it's gonna magically solve everything. And so what I find is that like, even if you find it, and even if you start making money, then you hit a problem, right? Because life has problems and obstacles and businesses, and I don't mean problem with a capital P, but like little p problems, like stuff happens, right? You have to fire a client, or you have to set a boundary, or there's just stuff that you need to deal with in business. And then, so even though you're making money, then you hit a little p problem, and then you start to make yourself wrong because the money mindset thing was supposed to solve everything, right? And again, that magical thinking is something that I can laugh at so hard right now, but because it's so obvious when we can see it in other people, and it's so obvious when I say it the way that I'm saying it, but it's so sneaky in real life, and it plays out just like, it's just interwoven and it's out there. And there's a lot of content, and there's a lot of even personal development books that really engage that magical thinking, because it makes us feel better. It's a little bit of a hit, right? Oh, I know that when I reach day 30 with my supplements, I will be great, right? And it doesn't mean that it's not a good thing. It's just we're looking at it in a way that's not true, and then we set ourselves up for a different kind of disappointment. Okay, I'm just going to check the time. So what happens with this and the way that it plays out in your business is I find it tends to push us to one side or the other. It either puts you in a space of inaction, right? When I was joking like, okay, well, I don't know what my money mindset issue is, so I can't sign any clients until I figure it out. So I better go take this, money mindset course and stop trying to grow my business because that's not working. And clearly my problem is in here, right? Which I just said, like, most business challenges can be solved up here, right? So like, can you see how it can get confusing? But we want to just swing the pendulum all the way to inaction because we're believing until that thing happens, I can't do anything or I can't get there. And it's a great excuse. Talk about, what's it called? This is like Psychology 101. Secondary gains, right? Anything that is in your reality, that's not a good way to say it. Anything that you're dealing with that you don't want, right? Especially something that's a pattern. So let's say, if your business, by the way, has a dip in income, like that doesn't mean that you have a money mindset problem. It just means your business had a dip in income, like period. We can find out why, but it might or might not have to do with your money mindset. But secondary gains is a great one because anytime you have a pattern of something, right, which is usually when we go, okay, well, I've got a mindset issue, but I don't know what my problem is. Anytime you have a pattern, you know the complaint about it. You know what you don't like about it. You know what you're not getting that you want solved. But usually we have secondary gains, which is like this unconscious, we're not aware of it, unconsciously, or subconsciously, I should say, we're getting something out of it, right? So like you could think about a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, right? They're not happy. They're visibly unhappy, but maybe subconsciously they're just trying to get attention, right? And so that's working for them, right? Tantrums work, right? It's a terrible example since I'm not a parent. But it's a great way that we can take that secondary gain and get it, right? And it plays out very subconsciously in our business. And sometimes it puts us in inaction. Or it puts us in avoidance, which I think still in my head, I put that on this like inaction side. We're going to talk about action in a second. But if it puts you into inaction, then it has you avoiding the stuff that your business probably actually needs you to do in order to create more money, like making offers to people, following up on that sales call you had last week, remembering to put your offers out there and putting it on social media. Like nobody's going to sign up if you don't tell them about it, right? And so I think it's just such a really nice, easy, sneaky way to get us into inaction when what our business needs from us to make more money is some sort of action. I'm not talking about hustle. We're going to talk about that later. But all that is to say, if A is what you need to do to make more money, but you've decided you have a money mindset problem, it takes you over here. And you're over here solving this when like the problem is still here to be the actual problem. One of the things I like to talk about with my clients is like, first off, there's no real problems in business. But if we're going to run a successful business that's profitable, that's sustainable, that's enjoyable, that doesn't make you crazy, that doesn't burn you out, that doesn't wear you out, we can't solve problems that aren't there, and we have to solve the actual problem that's there, right? So if your problem is here, let's say your problem is over in your offer or in the fact that I'm gonna go back to visibility. Let's say your problem is you're scared to get visible, so you're not telling people very much about your offer, right? And that's probably why you're not making as much money as you want to. But you go over here to like journal and work on your money mindset, right? And I'm a mindset coach, and this is blasphemy that I'm telling you, like, don't do that. Please do both. But can you see that journaling on money mindset when I need to work on my visibility and I need to get out there is never going to help me? Not really. right? It's not solving the actual problem. And so that's one of the things I'm always working on with my clients is like, what's the problem and then what needs to be solved around it? And of course, mindset comes in there. But we want to solve the actual problem. And this myth just sends you on a search for the secret and the leprechauns and puts you in magical thinking. And it's incredible. And I'm joking and I'm laughing, but like if you have believed any piece of this, like I'm not making light of it. There's a part of me that has believed parts of this as well in the past. And so there is no shame, blame, or concern here. It's just the main reason I make light of it is because I just think it's easier to spot it in yourself when you start to see it in a different way. Okay, I'm going to pause. It puts us into action or inaction. I'm going to talk about action, and then we're going to talk about what you can do instead of like spending all of today on what not to do. We're going to talk about what to do. Let me just check the comments here. This is refreshing to hear as I've gotten caught up in the what may be that one thing. Yes, I think that's a thing. I think that's a thing that we all have. And okay, what may be that one thing that blocks the easy flow of money coming in? Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that like money mindset isn't a thing. This is something I work with my clients on all the time, but let me just fast track to some of the answers here. Like most of the time, if you're not aware of it, it's probably because it's not about money. Most mindset issues, like most of my clients, once I get to know them for a little while, like I can name their top 1, 2, and 3 like go-to mindset challenges that just keep playing out over and over and over and over again, right? And it's not to say that we don't work on them and that we don't progress through them and that they're always there. No, but we do generally have things that underlie almost every single thing that we do. Mine has to do with hard work. I was way overworked as a kid in a really excellent private school that gave me some really fantastic education, but wore me out. I burned out as a kid. And so I'm always trying to get myself out of working too much. And I have no good concept of what working too much is. That is always my thing. I shouldn't say I have no good concept of that. I've worked on that really hard, but I'm probably always going to be working at that. I'm okay with that, right? But like that then comes for me, that then affects my money mindset, right? If I think the only way that I can make money is if I have to do hard work, I'm out. I don't wanna, I already did that. So I'd rather be poor, thanks, right? I'm just sharing mine. But whatever's underneath is oftentimes not about money. That's the secret. It's not a secret. Savior dynamic, yes, the guru stuff, the savior dynamic, 100%. And many solopreneurs and small business owners are purpose over profit, and that's a value rather than a mindset. I completely agree. That's very well said. We're all on this journey, so we all have our mindset challenges. I agree, it's a collaboration. That until X happens, I hear that so much, and I've caught myself with that too. Yeah, same. Oh, good. Team supplement. We coach ourselves when we coach others. Clients will come our way with similar challenges. Oh my gosh, 100%. 100%. Okay, so it can push us into inaction, and then it can also push us into action. That also doesn't solve the problem, right? So things like, we already talked about this, things like hiring the wrong person, right? So I'm gonna pick on web design again, just because I think it's such a great example, right? Okay, here's a good one. Maybe I'm pivoting and I kind of want to like maybe move in a different direction, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm thinking about it. So let me give a better example. Maybe I'm pivoting. Okay, I'll share my pivot. So when I first started my business, I was a hypnotherapist and a life coach. And then I was like, nope, I want to work with people in their business. So I kept the mindset piece, right? But I added the business piece. So let's say I'm in the middle of that messy decision-making process, and I'm not sure yet if I want to bring in business. But then I hire a web designer to help me write this sales page for the business piece of it, or for the business and mindset, let's say together. This is a terrible example. Point being, I'm in a pivot and I don't really know quite what I want to offer, but I'm asking a web designer to write me a sales page. They're going to be so annoyed by me because I don't know what my offer is, and I don't know why me. I don't know how to tell the right story. I don't know how to make good sales. I don't know how to tell them because I don't even know what I'm doing, because I haven't even started doing it yet, right? So again, it puts us in a mindset, or it puts us in a space of hiring the wrong person, or hiring a person to help us solve a problem we don't have, right? In that example, I needed to figure out what I wanted to do and put an offer around that. And then it would be great time to hire a web designer to help me put that on my website. Okay, I already talked about this, and this is so blasphemous. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but it can put you into action solving the wrong problem in terms of thinking that your only problem is mindset. And so you better just journal the shit out of that until you figure out your money problems, and then you'll make some money, right? Like, and again, I'm being silly a little bit, but I do think that we tend to, one of the reasons why I have focused so much on, one is because it's my background and my experience and my love, but people are coming home. But the reason I blend mindset and strategy in my work with my clients is because when we focus on one or the other, we're generally missing something. Most things in business, we want to make sure we're being strategic externally and internally. And we want to make sure that we're covering our mindset, that we're not putting ourselves into a space where we're solving a problem we don't have, right? And so I just think that if we think that our problem is money, if we go back to this like myth and we think that like we have to solve the problem, then why would you look at your offers, look at your sales process, look at your marketing to solve your money issues in your business? Why would you if you believe that the answer is only in your mindset, right? And again, most things are both, right? That back to that cognitive flexibility, like most things are both, right? So if you find yourself, side note tip, if you find yourself in your business trying to solve all your business problems, either from just the strategy side or just the mindset side, the answer is probably find a way to mix the both together. That's my secret. I'm just saying secret because it sounds fun. Okay. Yeah. I did a whole live years and years and years ago called "Sometimes Your Mindset Block is That You Think You Have a Mindset Block." Right? Sometimes it's really just that simple. Like or the mindset example is you're just scared. Like I can mindset my stuff all day, every day, and I can talk to my coach about it. And like my journal is right here. Like I am a huge fan of mindset work, and because I love psychology more than business, I will always lean towards better solve this with my mindset. Like I'm totally making fun of my own little self here. I will always err on that side. And sometimes it's just time to take an action. Sometimes it's time to do it scared, right? Okay, I'm going to hold that. I have a do it scared example, but I'm going to hold it and see if we have time to share that, because I think I'd rather share a little bit more content with you before we go. Yeah, or thinking, if you're leaning on the side of mindset, one of the things that I like to also remind my clients from just a strategy and practical side of the business is that no matter what phase of business you're in, we still have business stuff to solve and mindset stuff to solve, right? And so if you're building and you're just starting out, it's a lot easier to know, like, oh yeah, I need to put an offer together, or I don't really have a funnel, or I don't have any sort of like audience. I need to build an audience somewhere, right? Top of funnel kind of activity. Like you can start to see like what you don't have, and it's sort of simple and clear what's there and what's not if you don't have a website, right? But then as we grow, sometimes we think like, well, I figured I did this last year. I reevaluated my offer last year. So why am I doing it again? What's wrong with me? I clearly didn't get my offer right because I didn't know. Like business changes, people change, as your capacity changes, one of the first things I look at in my clients when we start working together is their offers, from the point of what it is and how they offer, like literally how they offer it, how it looks from the outside, how it's positioned from the marketing standpoint, and then how it is from a structure standpoint of like, how are they delivering this, especially for services, how are they delivering this service to their clients? Because if they're trying to grow or scale, we have to make sure that they have capacity to keep growing. And so if you're hitting a capacity, I do this like you're hitting your head on the ceiling, right? If you're hitting a capacity level, we want to go back and look at the offers. So again, my point here, I'm going on a little tangent, but my point here is we always need to go back to basics. So annoying. But there's nothing wrong with you if you're in a growth phase, or if you're in a scaling phase. We are always looking at those basic, I don't even want to say basic, those foundational business principles, like your sales process and your delivery to your clients and your marketing and your messaging, right? To make sure that it serves the next level of where your business is going. And so you didn't have it wrong. It just gets to evolve and shift as we go. But if we think we have a money mindset problem, then that's why we're hitting a ceiling on a money thing and we can't keep growing, right? Can you see how money mindset isn't your problem in that example? Or it might be, but we also need to solve the business piece too. Okay, so we talked a lot about this. I'm just going to say it one more time. You don't need to know why. When I first started my business, as I said, I was a hypnotherapist and a life coach. And when I went through my hypnotherapy training, one of the coolest things that I found is, one, we were taught very much on how to find the source, right? The like root cause of a person's mindset, right? And so that's fun and that's awesome. And if you know that, that's awesome because you get a lot of data and you can work with it. But you do not need to know why. And one of the things that I found was so helpful was working with people who have experienced traumatic experiences. Sometimes our minds block that out, right? And we intentionally don't remember stuff because it's too traumatic. And so one of the coolest things I learned was how to keep that blocked, because it's not necessary. Like we were trauma informed. I was not comfortable going into somebody's trauma. And so, but we could still work with it and hold that over there and keep the gate on it and still work on the mindset issue that probably was a result of some huge, like let's say it's huge child trauma, right? It probably was a result of that. That probably was the source, but we didn't need to know anything about that source. And we could work it from a present day scenario and deal with their present day beliefs and work on shifting and changing those. And so same for you. You do not need to know the origin of your money issues. You might start to find it as you step into it, but you do not need to know why in order to change it. And I think that is part of what's underneath this myth, is like you have to find the secret, right? You have to find the subconscious block. You have to find the problem, and you don't. So what to do instead? Number one is start working with your current belief systems. What do you know that feels crunchy for you about whatever part of money? And I think it's really helpful to start breaking it out. Like, is it about receiving? If it's really about money, is it about receiving? Is it like, no, I can make money and I can receive money, but then I can't seem to hold it. I never seem to have enough, right? It's coming in, but then it just goes out, right? So that's a different nuance, but it's an important nuance. And then what's your perspective on spending, which is different than holding, right? So receiving, spending, and holding, meaning allowing yourself to bring in enough that you have excess and being able to hold on to that. So if you're wanting to do some mindset work, I highly recommend, on your money mindset specifically, I highly recommend kind of just brainstorming on those 3 sections. And you'll probably find you have a lot more sticky stuff in one of those to start with. That's a great place to sort of start to dive into what might be playing out now and how is it affecting your business. And then, like I said earlier, most money mindset things aren't necessarily about money. So you probably already know yourself really well if you care about money mindset or mindset at all and you're here. You probably have already done a little bit of personal growth work, and you probably know some of your hangups. Like, I know my stuff is about hard work. I knew I had that issue. And so what if I just finished that thought? Like, well, what if my challenge with hard work has to do with money? Let me play with that. What if those go together, right? Some other just really common ones I'll just rattle off in case any of these feel like something you want to explore. And this is not an extensive list. This is just some things that I think happen a lot, come up a lot with entrepreneurs. If it's hard work like me or burnt out, control. If you're a control freak, that can play out in your money. Fear of rejection, your attachment style, visibility, just a few. Okay, so what to do instead? I think I beat a dead horse on stop looking for the secret. The answers are, and again, like probably the issue, if you have a business problem, if your business isn't making the money that you want, right? Whether it's because you're not bringing enough in or you're just looking to grow and it's not growing the way you want it to, it's probably not just a money mindset issue. So let's let yourself off the hook on that. And there's definitely no secrets. What to do instead, don't get mad at me, but this is the real truth. Like, if you want to make true behavioral change. So again, if you are experiencing a pattern of money issues in any way, shape, or form, right? The receiving, the holding, the spending. Or in business, if it's about building or growing or scaling, it's going to come down to making behavioral changes. And we don't make behavioral changes that don't align to our belief systems. So it comes back to the simple behavior change is mindset, strategy in business, and action, right? So if you change your thoughts, you can change your actions. However, you do not have to change your thoughts in order to change your actions. In fact, when you take an action that's aligned to what you want to believe instead, it helps to start to shift your mindset. And so the mindset piece is not just done in here. This is one of the reasons why I left hypnotherapy and life coaching, because I just felt like we were doing a lot of talking. And I love working with people in their business because it's all about taking action, and we can take an action and see what feels sticky, right? So for example, if you're struggling with visibility and you decide that you're going to go do a live stream like this, okay, that's going to be really scary, and we can talk about it and work on what's going on in here, but the easiest thing to do is jump off the high dive, right? It's not the easiest thing to do, but like the simple, clear action is and it doesn't have to be that small of an action. It could be recording a little reel. It could be recording something short, doing something to be a little bit more visible than you are is the secret to making change in your business. That's how we actually change as humans. That's the brain science, the psychology, the neuroplasticity, all of that you hear about. Like, that's what it's about. It's about, yes, you want to change your mindset, but sometimes we can just change our mindset with our actions. The mind will catch up, and it all goes together. And so behavior change really is about changing this, but also changing how you act. That is the behavior change. And so I would say if you're struggling with something, anything in your business, it doesn't have to be about money, find an action that you can take that the future you who has the thing or doesn't have the thing, whatever the thing is that you're dealing with. So let's use money. I'm just going to use money as an example. So let's say you're growing your business and you want to make more money. What's one action you can start taking consistently that you would take if you were making really good money, if you were making that next level of money? What's one action you would take in the business all the time if you were already making that money? Right? Or you could sort of another way to ask that is let's flash into the future. You're already making that amount of money. Look back. What did you do to get there? Right? And so again, one example might be, I just made more offers. Right? I mean, I'm being silly. It can be that simple, but if you're worried about visibility, or if sales feels crunchy and that's why you're not making as much money, or why you're having a hard time growing, then maybe that future person would look back and go, oh, I just got better at sales. I decided to focus on sales. And I decided to work that. Yes, it has mindset stuff. Yes, it's strategy stuff. Yes, it's action stuff. It's all blended together, but that's how I got there, right? And then the mindset piece is just a part of the process. It's not the thing you have to, back to the myth, it's not the thing you have to start with in order to get anything. It goes as a part of the process, and it does. We actually change faster when we just take action, and then we deal with it as we go. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to check the comments here because I see 10 comments. It's all perspective. Psychology is awesome. Psychology is awesome. I'm a doing it scared example. Yes, and same. Everybody's raising their hand. I love it. Yes, I'm all about doing it scared. And I want to just one quick caveat on doing it scared. Like that doesn't mean 14 steps out of your comfort zone, because that's going to just, you're not going to do it. You're either not going to do it or you're not going to be able to do it consistently. And I think there's a lot of like, tough love coaching philosophy out there of like, just make the person do it. And I don't agree with that at all. That's why mindset coaching is helpful, to help you get to that one step, that next step. But just remembering that your mind will catch up, and you can do mindset work while also taking action, and they just start to go together, and it starts to not feel so sticky. Got to run to an appointment. This was a solid reminder and so encouraging. Thank you. Good luck, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, I can relate to the hard work. Yes. Love receiving the money, but put in too much of the extra mile. Yep. I'm aware that it's a challenge to change, or at least to change as quickly as I want to. Yes. But yeah, to your point, it's actionable. Somebody, I don't know if she was responding to your comment, but it is actionable, right? And I also think, like, if you're saying like you overgive, I think some of that can be even, that's the space to work, which then means that you could actually, I'm just going to use this as an example if this is what you mean, right? So if you're giving too much to your clients, then yeah, it's going to be really hard to scale and add any more clients because you're already giving too much to your existing clients. And I'm a huge fan of like over delivering, but we still have to have boundaries and give like, what we agree to. And so what I would say to that is like, just think about the math of like, if you boundaried yourself within your delivery around giving them excellent service, of course, but not over giving, then you would probably have space for one more, I'm going to make it up, right? One more client on your roster, right? And so to just think about it that way, to start to look at the practicality of it, might also then give you a reason to hold a boundary with a client next time, right? So it's not just a mindset thing. You can start to see how it fits together. 1%, yes, James Clear, Atomic Habits, 1% different action every day. I'm such a fan of him, and I love the 1% because really and truly, and I think this is not spoken about enough, like if I just think about my business progress and I think about my clients, like, yes, there are days or weeks or months or years where like there's big pops and big changes. And like, if you look at the stock market, like it goes up like that, right? Like, yes, 100%. And most of business is a progression that's slow and steady wins the race. Like we think it's supposed to be one way, but the way to get most of those big pops is the small daily, weekly actions that get us to those moments. And I just don't think it's said enough. I think I actually said this in last week's Think Differently, but like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with basketball players, and so I'm using this example of like, if you are the greatest basketball player in the world, like you also still shoot free throw shots every day at practice. Like you learned how to do that when you were 7. And you're still doing it as a professional athlete, right? Like it's the refinement, it's the mastery, it's the ongoing repetition, it's the tiny, like the day that you are laying in bed and you don't want to go to practice. That's the thing that makes you the best basketball player in the world. You know what I mean? It's talent and things like that too, but it's being willing to just keep going with those tiny actions. Yeah. Thank you and thank you. Okay, great. Yes, and we are right at time. So let me just double check and see. Oh, and the final piece I wanted to say, so what to do instead? 1, stop looking. for the secret. There is no secret. 2, true behavior change is the mindset and the action together. And so just remembering to put the 2 together. And then 3, this is so much my philosophy for running a business and the real approach. Yes, I work with my clients around money mindset, but it's part of the process. It's not the focal point. And that's because I really believe that our jobs are more to learn how to run our businesses, learn how you operate, learn how your business runs, learn what works for you, learn what doesn't work for you, learn what you will never execute on, even if it's the greatest idea ever, and you're not doing that. And to let that go and find a new strategy or a new way to run your business. I just think that over the years, that is more and more what I'm doing, is helping people not learn how to run a business, but how to run their business, how to run that business, what that business needs from them. And that is I personally think is a much better approach to if you're wanting to grow or scale your business. And then 100% the money mindset is a piece of that, right? But it's a different focal point, and it's a different lens to start from. And again, I'm not saying that please don't hear me that money mindset isn't a thing. It's absolutely a piece of the puzzle. But most of the time it's not, it's like, I don't think there's a single one of my clients, I could be wrong. Let me just say it that way. I can't think of a single client right now or in the past, where money mindset was their number one challenge. It was around mindset around something else, right? Or a strategy that was hard for them, misaligned, and we found something that was more aligned or something like that, right? That's just not it. And so I think if I can leave you with anything today, it's really that if you're struggling, if you like legitimately have an issue with money, great, that you know what that is and you can start working on that. But I really get mad at this belief system, this stuff in the personal growth industry, that like this is the problem that you have to solve, and if you don't solve it, you're just screwed. And I just don't. It's just not true. So again, your homework today, should you choose to accept it, is to identify one action that you can take that will get you where you want to go, even if you're doing it scared, and play with that. And I would love if you do something and you're playing with something, and let me know, shoot me an email, let me know how it's going. If you're interested in working together, these are exactly the kind, like I just told you a lot about today, how I run my business, how I work with my clients, my philosophy, the way that I approach my work. I have 2 spots open at the moment for next month. And depending on the month, I'm taking deposits for future start dates, but just not every single month. So if you are looking for some support, I would love to talk to you. Just book a free call. It's the links in the comments here, and it'll also be in the follow-up email with your replay, and I'd love to talk to you. And again, if you're looking for somebody sooner, or if you're looking for somebody down the road later in the year, like I said, I do take deposits for the future, just depending on the time frame. And I'd love to help. Okay, any other questions? All right, friends.
This has been fabulous, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks, Carla.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. All right, thanks so much. I will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Bye,
It's
you're
been
welcome.
Nice to have a little refresh.
Good. I'm glad.
Sometimes don't tell you what to do sometimes.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Okay, thank you. Have a great
You're
weekend.
welcome. Happy weekend, guys. See you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao. Recording